Hello, and welcome to the Donovan Mitchell episode of the Hoop Theory Podcast, aka episode 45. My name is Logan Wortman, and today, as usual, I'm joined by the man, the myth, the legend, Jacob Roth. Jacob, how's it going?
It is going fantastic for me. A little bit toasty as it is across, I think, a large portion of the United States. But it's finally cooled down a little bit. This past week, we were looking at heat indexes of like 105. And for us, that's not normal. That's not even close to normal. We're not in like a Phoenix where it's like hundreds, no big deal. It was warm, but I survived. We made it through, and it's been a great 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, for sure. And does that have to do with the Jaylen Brown contract at all?
For all of yes, he can't go left, and he struggles to dribble sometimes, either direction, and he has sometimes shown that in bright lights he struggles, but he also is awesome. I don't know. I didn't know what else the Celtics did. I liked that Brad Stevens did not move on the player option. He refused, so it is a team option in the fifth year.
Oh, it's
which
a team
I liked.
option. Okay, I didn't even know that
But there's
detail.
the trade kicker, where like he gets like a bunch of money from the Celtics if he gets traded, on top of like getting the contract. He gets like an extra bump if he gets traded. But that doesn't affect me as a fan at all. That's just Celtics ownership paying more money, which I don't care. But the not budging on because for everyone that was all mad when I said, I worded it poorly in our last podcast when I said there's nothing trade related that will happen with Jaylen Brown's contract. I didn't think of trade kicker, but he was not eligible for a no trade clause because you have to be in the league for 8 years and a member of that team for 4 before you can get the no trade clause. So, and I was okay. It's the biggest contract in NBA history. Is Jaylen Brown worth the biggest contract in NBA history? No. But in 4 years, when the next like wave of everybody, or 5, it'd be 5 years. Once everyone that is still in the league now goes through and gets their big extensions that they all deserve, and Jaylen's on the last year of his contract, will it equate to what he's supposed to be getting? Probably.
I don't know if I agree with that, because all these other people that will be signing those deals are all on a different level from Jaylen Brown. Like, what player worse than Jaylen Brown is going to be signing to a supermax? You know what I mean? Like, there might be. I'm not saying there's not going to be, but it just seems like he very well could be, for the majority of this deal, be like very vastly under what he's being paid value-wise.
But is there a chance that he like grows into it?
There's a chance.
Hypothetically, all he has to do is stop trying to dribble the basketball, and he's like almost there. Take all of the energy and dribbling that he wastes and spend it on off-ball and on-ball defense, because he's never been great at off-ball defense. It's always been the on-ball stuff.
Yep. He's like a predator. He has his eyes he has tunnel vision. He doesn't see the things around him. It's kind of like how he plays on offense too. And like literally physically, I've noticed this before, like looking at him and Tatum, his eyes physically are like more narrow and closer together on the front of his face. Oh. It's like his focus is so much more narrow than wide. But that's like just a theory.
A double entendre, but not with words. But anyway, that's actually interesting. Now that I'm thinking about it, you're kind of right.
Yeah.
I saw a picture of him without a beard and without the flat top. He had a buzz, and I think it was Photoshop. Wild to look at. Didn't feel right.
Isn't that what he has right now? A beard when a buzz?
No, the buzz I've gotten used to, but the beardless and the buzz, he has like no
beardless.
chin.
I thought you said beard.
No beard.
Oh.
No beard and buzzed. Because for a long
that.
time he was the stack top.
Yeah.
Not actually that dramatic, but
it was pretty dramatic at one point, I think. Not like Amon Shumpert. But
Well, it's not even a buzz. It's or maybe it's a buzz now because it was dreads for the playoffs. I think it's probably still dreads.
Like cornrows, right?
Yeah,
like
not
braids.
Sorry, cornrow braid things.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, not really cornrows, but braids. Yeah, I see it now. They're
I'm
like
stupid.
sideways.
I don't know what anything's called. I'm dumb. Dreads are not. I know those aren't dreads. Now that I say it, I'm just stupid. I apologize. Yeah, no. They're not like Damari Carroll had dreads. We were talking about him. I don't remember why we were talking about it. Oh no, I remember why I heard Damari Carroll recently because he was a guest when you played the NBA crossover puzzle thing. Yeah. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, listener, head on over to youtube.com. Hoop Theory.
Yep.
It's like
exactly
easiest 3 minutes of your life. It's very enjoyable. But yeah.
No, that's also, a good shout out.
Disappointed in you.
Yeah, Jeff I didn't Green, do very well.
You claimed that Jeff Green, his longest stretch was with the Grizzlies?
I took that back pretty fast, but
you did. That's true.
I'm not sure where. It was definitely the Celtics, but it wasn't continuous, right?
Yeah,
he's been on the Celtics multiple times.
But also, if you need context, I already told you where to go. But YouTube, Hoop Theory,
TikTok, or TikTok. Any of those places.
I don't have TikTok because I'm a boomer, but any of those places, it's the place to go. But anyway, I am content with it. I'm sad. I don't love it, but I'm also like, I would rather have this than lose him forever. And we talked about like, there's like a tier list of like how well guys work together. Like your dream scenario is when you have like a Kobe Shaq. Those two people's play styles, they both kind of want the ball, but like they don't affect each other in terms of their efficiency all that bad. Jamal Murray and Jokic is like they just work.
Yeah.
Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum are not near as detrimental to each other as like Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons were.
Yeah, because they take up space on the perimeter versus space on the inside, like Ben Simmons and Joel Embiid, where there's a lot less space.
And I just feel like maybe if I want this, I feel like Jaylen Brown has never been used 100% properly because the Celtics have never had the like facilitator, and we've talked about this a zillion times. They've never had like a pure point guard. I don't like to score. I'd rather have 10 assists than 10 points type of point guard. They haven't had that during his time as a Celtic, and I feel like he's a type of player that would very much like that. Maybe not in his brain, but as his play style, removing him having to like dribble a lot away from him and not make him be that guy, because that's kind of sort of what the Celtics did sometimes.
I mean, yeah, they kind of have to, in order to,
and that won't change this year, but maybe next offseason it'll change, or Jason Tatum turns into more of that's another little skill set he can turn on every once in a while, but
which I think he's growing in that. He's growing.
And that's one thing that I do like is I do not think we've seen the best version of Jaylen Brown at all. Like both the Jays like get better every year. Part of it is inflated due to like usage and things like that. If you want to go down that whole rabbit hole, they don't make these with Brown specifically. Tatum, I think, actually is like turned into like a different. He deserves to be fourth in the MVP voting, or at least top 5 in MVP voting. Like he's that guy.
Yeah.
But there's very few times as Jason Tatum not the best basketball player on the court.
Yeah, that's probably true.
For the Sixers Celtics series, Jason Tatum was the best player, and that's why the Celtics won in 7. That's just what it was. Like there was moments where James Harden was the best player by miles.
Yeah.
And then there was times
2
where
games.
Joel Embiid never really looked like the best player on the court, but he had moments, not to take anything away, but that's rehashing shouldn't be MVP, but and it's hard because you have to like turn your brain off and forget about everything that happens in the playoffs. Like for the point of the award, you have to.
Yeah.
And that's just difficult when you like look at the disparity between the guy who got first and second and how they performed in the playoffs. But yeah, for those that don't know, Nikola Jokic, kind of this low key guy, center for the Nuggets. He was second place for MVP voting.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I kind of feel like going back to the Jaylen Brown thing. I kind of feel like the Celtics didn't really have like a good option out of this scenario, out of the situation they're in. Just with how the All NBA bonus works for Supermax deals, like I'm pretty sure his total max went from 253 million over 5 years all the way up to 304 million over 5 years, just because he made All NBA this year, um, which is pretty nuts. And he goes from like decently affordable like contract that doesn't look too bad to like that's way too much. You know what I mean? And I don't know. For the reason why I kind of feel like I would prefer that the All NBA bonus wouldn't exist is because situations like this, where you have a player around Jaylen Brown's caliber, where he's hovering around the top 15 in the league when he's at his very best, and especially if you have a season where big guys at his position like KD and LeBron and people like that are missing a lot of games and stuff like that, then he can very easily sneak in there onto a third team. And then all of a sudden,
he's worth,
he's worth way more than he should be. And also it kind of makes it so like fans of this player and of this team are kind of actively rooting against him actually making All NBA for a season. You know what I mean? I don't know if people really are, but there is at least some incentive to be like, hopefully
I hope he doesn't get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this situation wouldn't happen. And he's good enough to the point where since he's been on All NBA and that is what his max is theoretically, he can feel slighted by the team for not offering it to him, especially with the rest of the history of like his relationship with the Boston franchise on top of it. So I feel like if they would have not offered him the contract, that would have sealed the fate of
it. Would have been over.
Yeah. Whether that be a trade demand this season or him just walking in free agency next year.
I think Damian Lillard is a Celtic if they would not have reached an agreement. Because the way that I would have looked at it is he wants to be gone. Dame won't want to be here forever. But Dame will still play basketball. So let's just go win a title with Damian Lillard and just deal with the consequences of him wanting to be done and not being happy down the road.
Yeah.
Because you just take one unhappy player and then get a better unhappy player that costs less money.
And
or more money because you didn't pay him, but
yeah. But so Portland would be, if they were to get Jaylen Brown in a deal like that, you think they're trying to be good or they're trying to just rebuild?
I don't know, because I think Portland, after losing Dame, will still be closer to good than most teams are when they lose the equivalent of Damian Lillard. Like, they drafted his replacement that needs a couple years to cook, but is pretty close.
What team would they be better in the West?
Let me pull up the standings.
Because I just kind of feel like the West is like everybody.
No, the West
maybe
is
the
crazy,
Rockets. So... I could see the Rockets maybe, but still, like the Rockets are a lot better now with all the players they signed.
No, that's true, because the Rockets took a big jump. The Spurs took a big jump. Jazz, they're probably worse than... Not probably, they are worse than... Mavericks, they're worse than... Yeah, the West is just wild. Like, the more and more you think about it, the West is wild.
So, like, I guess if it's a team that's trying to rebuild and be bad, I feel like that team probably wouldn't mind signing Jaylen Brown to that big of a deal. But because, the catch is a team that would be theoretically trading for Jaylen Brown, if you guys hadn't signed that deal, would be put in the same exact situation that the Celtics were just got themselves out of. You get what I mean? So like,
they'd be in it for less.
No, it would be the same because in the trade, you get his bird rights. If you're traded on your current contract, the bird rights is with the new team that just traded.
They transfer.
Mm-hmm. The only time bird rights is different is when your contract ends and you sign with a new team.
When you're a free agent okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So they would have to be, in the same situation. And so I think if it's a team that is trying to rebuild like that, that would make more sense because they don't mind putting all that money into a guy when they're not trying to win a championship, you know? But for other teams, I just feel like his trade value goes down a bit from where you would think Jaylen Brown's trade value would be, because people know, like the team that trades for him knows they would have to face this
pay him this insane amount of money. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So, or lose him for nothing.
Or lose him for nothing.
But yeah. I think the right move was what you guys did, to be honest.
Well, and it's like a guy that it's a guy that Fitz already knows like what's going on. It just is less hemorrhaging of emotion for Celtics fans. Brad Stevens has us in mind. And then Jaylen Brown had to just re-aggravate the pain talking about Marcus Smart and being like, he's a brother. I'm like, I want to die. The Clippers are my like the Clippers, longtime listeners, before it was even Hoop Theory, will remember the corner of shame. Clippers in the corner of shame for sure.
Mm-hmm.
For not taking Malcolm Brogdon. And apparently Malcolm Brogdon's mad. They tried to trade him. And they've had to have conversations to try to mend the relationship. But I'm just still bummed.
Brogdon, you're saying?
Yes, with Malcolm Brogdon, apparently. Mm. No, but the Clippers are in the corner of shame. Because they expressed interest in Malcolm Brogdon after the trade didn't happen. They're like, well, maybe it'd be nice to have him.
Yeah.
I still have Marcus Smart then, you a-holes.
Yeah. That is true. It would have been much better. Much better of a move. But I still think you're set up pretty well.
No, it's not like we're a bad team now.
Far from that, yeah.
Like the opposite of bad.
Yeah.
Pretty good.
Oh, Jaylen Brown is actually almost 27. He'll be turning 27 in less than 100 days. He's a little bit older than I thought.
Was he 2? I thought he was 1 and done at Cal. He might have not been just 1 and done at Cal.
He might have been 2, yeah. But anyways, I guess, are we done with Jaylen Brown talk? I can't remember if we got to all we wanted to get to with him.
I feel like that's the best thing that the Celtics could have done. They did.
Mm-hmm.
Brad Stevens proved yet again pretty good at the whole GM thing, or president of basketball operations, or whatever their fancy title is.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like, is there a single team that has that, like, sometimes it's GM, sometimes it's president of basketball operations, sometimes it's director of player. I'm making that one up. But, like, I feel like there's, like, 8 titles that all mean GM.
I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure most teams have a basketball, like a president of basketball operations and a GM. It's just
some teams have doubled up.
No, like every team has both of those, I'm saying.
Okay.
But like there's usually one guy in the room at all of these teams that is more of the player personnel guy that's like making those decisions. Like sometimes with a team that's the GM, because the president of basketball operations delegates that to him, and instead he's more in charge of like hiring training staff and coaches and like all the things that go around, because the president of basketball operations is technically the GM of like every employee of the organization.
Mm-hmm.
And a general manager is like overseeing just the roster construction. So it's kind of arbitrary which people we decide to make the face of each team. It's kind of like a media thing. Like if once the media starts talking about like, oh, this is the guy that we think is making decisions with this team, that guy's face is like, oh, that's the GM. Like with the Spurs, they're probably the most ambiguous team of like who really calls the shots with the Spurs. Is like, because Greg Popovich is technically the president of basketball operations, but R.C. Buford is the general manager. A lot of people like it sounds like R.C. Buford makes a lot of the player personnel decisions, but also all of it has to go through Greg Popovich as well. So yeah, just things like that. But like Lawrence Frank, I'm pretty sure is the general manager, I want to say, at the Clippers, and then Jerry West is the president of basketball ops. I might have that mixed up.
The Celtics do not have a general manager.
Oh, they don't?
And that's not listed. They have general counsel, a finance manager, facilities manager,
and
human resources manager,
basketball ops.
And Brad is the president of basketball operations. I knew that's what Brad Stevens was, but I didn't know. Or is there like a player something? they don't really organize this very well when you're scrolling through.
I've tried to research things like this before. There's not a great place that has all this information, but
okay. So I guess there's a director of player personnel. It's David Lewin.
Okay, but so he probably, I mean, he makes micro decisions type of thing, and
yeah, because it's Brad doing all of the player things.
All of the decisions have to be executed by him at least.
It appears that Brad is the one that does all of it, but maybe it's not. Maybe Lewin's doing more because apparently before he was the director of player personnel for the Boston Celtics, the main red clause came up a weird amount during this podcast. He was the GM of basketball operations.
The GM of basketball operations?
The general manager of basketball operations for the main red clause.
Okay, interesting. Yeah. And again, I think that most of these, it's kind of hard to say like, oh, it's just this guy versus just this guy. Like, if you're actually there inside the organization, it'll probably seem more like it's a group kind of thing. Like, well, no, people are collaborating.
You watch the drafts and there's war rooms where guys are saying, what do you know on this guy? What do you know on this guy? And everybody's talking. And just because there's the one guy that calls, you're talking to Brad Stevens of the Boston Celtics.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to take you with this pick. Does that work for you? Which speaking of that, I've never understood why they ask.
Well, ask what? If it's okay?
Hey, you mind if we take you with this pick?
Why wouldn't they ask?
Why would they? Just like, hey, we're taking you with this pick. Welcome to the Celtics.
Why would they want to draft somebody that doesn't want to play for them? They're asking because they're like, do you want to play for us? Because we don't want to draft you if you don't want to play for us.
I feel like you know that before.
Yeah, typically. But do they ask
did Brandon
that every
Miller
time?
pick up the phone? I've almost never seen a video where they didn't ask.
I don't think Michael Jordan asked him, did he? He just said, welcome to the team or something like that.
Well, no, I guess because they wouldn't know the answer. Honestly, keep it buck, not really. Let me go to Houston.
Yeah, and also I think that call was before, or it was after the pick was already made, too. Pretty sure.
Oh.
That call with him and Brandon Miller. I want to say. Because he was already wearing the Charlotte hat. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'll never, like, the Cowboys war room is what they call it. Like, I just can visually see Jerry Jones every time. This is Jerry Jones, owner of the Dallas Cowboys. Would you like to be a Dallas Cowboy?
Because it's kind of like...
Nobody ever says no.
Austin Reeves said no to a few teams. That's why he went undrafted. Because he wanted to go to L.A. He said no to the Pistons.
Yeah, because he'd rather go undrafted and go play in L.A. with the fit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think... yeah. Well, and Kobe would have told teams no. Or did tell teams no very openly before the draft.
Mm-hmm.
Or did he?
I'm not.
Was he
aware
technically
of that.
ever in Charlotte?
No, he was drafted there, but the trade was. I think the trade was on draft night, either before the pick or one of those situations where they are wearing the hat, but everybody knows that it's not going to Charlotte because I think Mitch Kupchak traded for him. Mitch Kupchak was the GM of the Lakers at the time, who is ironically the GM of the Hornets now.
Which
they traded Vlade Divac for him.
Yeah, I'm just trying to remember if Kobe wanted to even be there ever. That's what I don't remember.
I'm not sure. I don't remember anything about... Well, I mean, we weren't alive either of us.
That's true.
But yeah, anyways, I think that's enough on the Jaylen Brown stuff, and we had a nice little random tangent in there.
That's what they're here for. That's what people are here for.
And then moving on to the next topic, I kind of wanted to touch on the FIBA World Cup this summer, which is coming up here pretty shortly, I'm pretty sure, which is going to be part of this discussion. We're going to look at when it even is, because I haven't watched Team USA, like actually watched a game of Team USA basketball since I feel like probably like 2012. Like it's been a long time.
Oh, wow.
Like, I don't know. I can't think of a time where I actually tuned in and, because a lot of times they're happening because it's in a different country. It's at like a weird time.
That's true. I remember one of the only reasons I watched the last Olympics was because my daughter was a very itty-bitty child and was up in the middle of the night. And I said, you know what's on right now? Team USA taking on Iran. I'll watch that.
What year was that?
It would have been 2012
2020. So
Summer Olympics.
Technically 2021, but it was the 2020 games.
Yeah, but it was the Olympics.
Yeah.
2021. Yeah. She wasn't even born in 2020. I'm stupid.
But it was called the 2020 Olympics because they had to postpone it until the next year because of COVID. But yeah, so this year though, it's in the Philippines. It looks like Philippines, Japan, Indonesia is what it says.
Oh, for FIBA.
Yeah. So what's the time difference there?
10? I have no idea. I just pulled a number out. 10-hour difference?
Probably a good guess. Time zones map of the world.
25 days away.
It's 25 days away?
Mm-hmm. 25 days, 15 hours, and 27 minutes.
Oh. I think I did see that actually, but I didn't really think about what I was looking at.
August 25th through the 10th of September.
Okay, so we do got some time. I was thinking it might be like here this next week or something, like at the start of August, but...
Oh, wow. Is Giannis playing for Team Greece?
I think so.
You know what's
Jokic isn't playing for Serbia.
But the USA's group is the US, Jordan, Greece, and New Zealand.
Oh.
2 teams get out of each group, though, I think.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But I respectfully, I feel like
Jordan is
wild.
The 2 seed.
I don't think it's a seed. It's groups. Groups is just
yeah, but or is that's not alphabetical? What I'm pretty sure it's based off of how they did in qualifying the 2 years ago, or because FIBA
Greece didn't have Giannis playing qualifying.
Did he
probably.
Not? Probably. Yeah, you're probably right.
Well, no, because
well, no, yeah, he did. He played in the Euro Cup last year. That's what they used for. That was last summer. Him and Jokic faced each other.
Okay, so maybe Jordan won
did really well, and
their thing, and a champion gets the bump up over any real human that watches basketball. Greece is looking at the world. Greece is probably like the 4 seed just because of Giannis alone. Because France can field like a full real team.
Greece is not as good as I don't like. They're below. I mean, in the Euro Cup, they're probably like the 5th or 6th best team, and that was just Europe.
Yeah,
like there's Italy, Spain, France,
Italy. I guess I forgot about Italy.
Yeah, and then Slovenia is around the same level as Greece. Serbia is like usually a powerhouse in Europe, and then there's like Croatia.
Angola is a 1 seed. If this is truly seeded, I feel like it's not for groups.
Yeah, but they could be the number 1. Like it might be based off of because they would have to play in Africa, like for their cup, and so it might be like the best team out of Africa gets the 1 in their group and things like that. But also the numbers could be meaningless, either way. And then Finland is pretty good too. I wouldn't say that all of these teams I'm listing off are better than Greece, but they're at least like in the mix. But yeah, and then because Spain won it, they won the Euro Cup last year,
and they're the 1 seed. The US is the 2 seed.
Oh yeah, so that would make sense.
So you get seeded, and then put into pots, and then the pots get randomized. So Greece is a 9 seed out of everything. But then the hosts get put higher up. So the Philippines was in the same seed as Spain, the US, and Australia because those were the top 3. And then the host place, so you get to have like the host in a group as the top of the group, top quote unquote. Then it's France, Serbia, Slovenia, and Lithuania.
What can you send me the link of what you're looking at?
Wikipedia.
Or at least, it's on Wikipedia. I can look that up. You can keep
2023
going.
FIBA Basketball World Cup seedings. So it looks like they took the world rankings that were published earlier this year, and then they ranked them and put them into pots.
Okay. So the seeds do mean something in the pods, correct?
No, I don't think so, because in the order, I'm almost positive that because Angola was listed as a 1, and they're the 41st ranked team.
But they're number 1 in Africa. So if you're the best from your region, you get a 1. Like, that's what I was saying. Like, since Angola is the best team out of Africa, whatever group they're in, they're number 1. You get what I mean? I'm not saying that means they're better than the teams that they're going to put.
That's not how this works at all.
Well, then how is Angola a 1?
I don't think that those are like... This is very confusing how they do this.
Yeah. Yeah, Spain is...
Because they're like a 7. They're one of the 8 worst teams in the FIBA Cup.
Yeah, because Africa's, as far as the regions go, Africa is the least competitive.
No, moving past Africa, like just looking at like everything. I guess how many groups are there? Maybe there's 8 groups. Oh, there is 8 groups. Yeah, this is wild.
So what are you saying?
Serbia is a 2 seed, and they're technically behind Sudan, South Sudan.
Yeah.
So that's not seeds.
But is South Sudan a higher seed in Africa than Serbia is in Europe?
South Sudan would be the 4 seed in Europe, and Serbia is the 3 seed in South Sudan is the 4 seed in Africa.
Mm-hmm.
And Serbia is the 3 seed in Europe.
Oh, okay. But Sudan is put above Serbia
in the group.
Okay. All right. So it's probably meaningless. I could probably cut a lot of this out, but
because I still don't fully understand. I'm just going to read, not out loud, but I'm just going to read what the Wikipedia thing says.
Okay.
Or I guess I can read it and you cut it out because people don't matter. So the 32 people don't care. They do matter. Listeners matter. The 32 teams were seeded into 8 pots of 4 for the draw. As the hosts of the final phase, the Philippines were placed in pot 1 along with the FIBA World Rankings 3 highest teams. The 28 other teams, including the co-host Japan, were placed in pots 2 through 8 according to their world ranking. The draw sequence began with pot 1 and ended with pot 8. The teams were 1, 3, and 5 were in A, C, E, and G. Pots 2, 4, odds were in A, C. Anyway, they alternated the pots. That's how they did it.
Yeah.
A competition number was drawn for each team to determine its position in the number of group and the order of games in each group.
Okay, so it's just drawn.
Just a draw. So
that makes sense. Okay. Sorry, I took us down this very unneeded conversation. But anyways, time zones. That's what I was looking at. Time in Indonesia. I'll just look that up. I don't know why I didn't think of that before. It's 1:41 a.m. right now. So it's exactly 12 hours.
Oh.
Which I'm sure Japan is probably not the same time zone as in Indonesia. And I'm sure Indonesia has multiple time zones because it's very long. It's very wide as an island country.
They're playing in...
Yeah, Japan's 2 hours ahead.
City.
Oh, that's where U.S. is playing all of the games?
No. Well, so the Philippines, I guess I can look at where the U.S. is playing. The U.S. will be playing in the Mall of Asia Arena in Pasay.
Pasay. Is that P-A-S-A-I?
A-Y.
A-Y.
Pasay.
Yeah, I was going to say, I think that's in the Philippines.
Because there's 4 places they play.
Okay,
A and B are playing in Quezon City.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So that's 13 hours ahead of us.
Okay.
So that's not that bad. I guess at
like 8 in the morning or 7 in the morning.
It'll be in the morning for games
or at night maybe.
If they're
maybe
playing
over the lunch hour.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. Probably
Who
not.
knows? Probably not that one.
Yeah.
That would be midnight there. They might be playing during the day.
They might be playing at noon, so it'd be like the middle of the night for us.
For us, yeah.
I'm sure there's also just a schedule.
You would think.
Yeah, there is one. A pretty easy to read one, actually. The U.S.'s first game will be taking place. Oh my goodness, how great is this? Oh, it's not in U.S. time. It's
on NBA.com.
The U.S.'s first game is.
I'm trying to find it too. I'm looking through till I see
confused.
I don't even see the U.S. in this.
Oh, okay. Because the game schedule on FIBA is wild. So, opening day at the Philippine Arena, the U.S. isn't playing. Okay, now I'm tracking. U.S.'s first game will be on Monday, August 28th, against Greece at 2:40 GMT.
GMT.
No, it's 2040. So it's 12:40 GMT.
12:40?
Okay, there's got to be a place that just took this and did the work already.
Greenwich Mean Time, that's what GMT is?
Yeah.
So 12:40 p.m. would be 7:40 a.m. in Omaha.
Okay.
Here.
And then their next game's at 8:40 GMT, which math can allow us to know that it's at 3:40 in the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
And then
wait, so is that 8:40 a.m. or p.m.?
Okay. I think it's in the military 24-hour time. So I'm
Okay, so that would be morning.
Well, so the Greece one is 2040 GMT or 1240. Wait, what? So it must be 8:40 local time, 1240 GMT.
So
I think it's in military time.
2040 GMT is 3:40 p.m. In Omaha.
But it's not 2040 GMT. I think it's 2040 local time.
It's local 12. Time is in what? What's local time? Local time
where
here?
They're playing the game?
I thought that's where where is Greenwich Mean Time?
England.
Oh, how am I supposed to know that? Greenwich?
I thought that was common. Oh, no. I guess it's not common knowledge.
I had no idea. Never heard of GMT. That's why the map,
because GMT is the 0 that everything adds and minuses off of. Like when you look at a world.
Yeah, that would make sense. I'm not well versed in time zones, I guess. But okay, so what's the time zone that they're in?
It's not England, but it's close to England, I'm pretty sure.
It's like in the middle of the Atlantic?
No, it's like, I think part of Africa technically does it.
Oh, so
I think Greenland is green. I don't know. I'm worried. I'm worried that I'm giving fake info.
That's okay. It's ongoing.
But I know that it is somewhere in that area, and that's why it counts from 0, and then it's 1, +1, -1, +2, -2 as you move the time zones out, except for China, which just has 1 time zone.
Okay, green. Is that this green one here? Yes, it is. Okay, so it's in the Greenland Sea on the north end, and on the south end it's St. Helena, Ascension Island, and Tristan da Cunha. So it's like through Ghana and Mali and Algeria and Morocco and Spain, France, and UK, and it skirts. It takes a detour to get around Norway. It's not a straight line. It goes not Norway.
It disregards. Norway does not acknowledge the GMT.
Yeah, and then it's a big box literally over almost
the entirety of the North Pole.
No, it just goes a very small rectangle. It goes over to all the way into not the next time zone, but the one after that as well, to grab Iceland.
Oh.
Do you see what I'm talking about now?
Now that I'm looking at it, yeah.
It's like, oh, we'll also put Iceland in this time zone when part of Iceland is actually 2 time zones away.
Also, I think I'm just wrong.
About what?
I think UTC is the thing that I was thinking of, and I always just thought it was the GMT.
No, this is GMT. This is 0.
And then it goes +1, -1 on each side, and then +2, -2. Okay.
Mm-hmm. It says at the bottom, it says Coordinated Universal Time, formerly Greenwich. Oh, okay. So I just read the words that confirm. So it's now called UTC. It was formerly known as Greenwich Mean Time.
Well, FIBA did not get the memo that it was formerly because they have GMT on their thing still.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like because there's like one of the oceans is the South Ocean.
An ocean? There's the Arctic Ocean.
It's called the South Ocean. Some people learned it as the South Ocean.
That would make
sense. Southern Ocean, sorry.
If you live in if you probably live around there, like in New Zealand and stuff, you probably call it that instead of Arctic because you don't feel like you're in the Arctic part of the world.
It's the southern. No, the only reason I know this is because I went to driver's ed with a dude that went to school in Lincoln, and he learned it as the South Ocean instead of the Arctic Ocean.
Oh, it probably depends on the textbook you get, I guess. But
that's also probably true, and we're probably also going to get big marketed by everybody on the internet saying that we're dumb and call it the Arctic Ocean instead of the Southern Ocean.
I feel like I don't know. I always thought that was more the official name of it was the Arctic Ocean. People, I don't know, maybe not, but wait, no, Arctic would be north. Antarctic would be south. So those are 2 different oceans, right?
Is there only? I thought there was 5 oceans. Is there 4? Yeah, it's Southern Ocean.
But that's not the Arctic. Arctic is north.
Yeah, Arctic is north. Yeah. Antarctic Ocean, right?
I didn't know that was a thing. I don't know about that.
You thought there was 4 oceans?
I thought there were. Okay.
There's 5 for sure. I knew there was 5.
Pacific, Atlantic, Indian, Arctic. I always thought there was 4. Yeah, I thought so.
I thought there was an Arctic and an Arctic. It doesn't matter. I'm a little stupid.
But there's a south, so
Southern Ocean.
Or Southern Ocean.
Give it the ERN it deserves.
The ERN.
Also, I googled ocean names and I found a list of 300 baby names that are ocean related that I could go through sometime.
That sounds like a fun podcast episode.
First one, Adriatic, as in the Adriatic sea in the Italian peninsula.
Yeah, right, it was between them and Greece, right? It's the sea between Italy and Greece.
Yeah. Next one, Ariel, the name of the main character from the film The Little Mermaid.
Oh.
These are all just water-themed name for babies.
Is okay, this would have been way better. Moana, there we go. Moana, one of them.
Nope.
Terrible list.
There is a Magdalene.
From what? What is that from?
After the town of Magdala on the coast of the Sea of Galilee.
Okay.
Then there's Mazu, the Chinese goddess of the sea. Moray, after the beautiful but dangerous animals of the sea. Don't know why they didn't put eel there. Nala is Arabic for drink water.
Oh, interesting.
Oceania, a girl's name inspired by the ocean. Doesn't get more spot on than this.
I've never even heard that as a name. That'd be interesting. Oceania.
I thought that was like a part of the world.
Oceania is.
Oh, I forgot another IE or IA.
Yeah, see, that's another thing. Some people call that Australia as the continent. Like some people say Australia is both a country and a continent, but other people say that continent is Oceania.
Huh?
Yeah.
No, I'm pretty sure Oceania is the big region. The New Zealand, Australia, all the little dots.
Some people say that the continent of Oceania is Australia, New Zealand, all of those islands, Indonesia, Papua New Guinea.
No, that's not what the internet says.
What do you mean?
Oceania is a region made up of thousands of islands through the Central and South Pacific Ocean. What continent is Australia on? Is what I put.
Yeah.
And it says Oceania, but then when you read the description, it says it includes Australia, the smallest continent in terms of total land area.
Yeah, see, it's contradicting itself. That's what I'm saying. There's some people that say that it's Australia is the name of the continent, and some people say Oceania.
People. Yeah.
Okay. Wait, normal people do which one?
Call it Australia.
I kind of prefer the other one because Australia is just one of the countries in the, like, no other continent is like that. Where you
continent, but the region, like New Zealand is not the continent of Australia. It's like islands off the coast.
Then what continent is New Zealand a part of?
It's not a continent. It's a bunch of islands.
New Zealand is not a continent, but it is part of a continent. That's
a region. Region and continent do not mean the same thing.
Okay, I'm pretty sure the way continents are supposed to work, every location on Earth is supposed to be part of a continent, one of the continents. I'm pretty sure.
Then why do we have terms like the continental United States?
Because that just means that it's like the land
on the continent,
like the physical geographic. What's that called? A geographic.
Well, then let's just name North America is on a plate.
Geographic feature. A geographic feature is a continent, but if like the proper, like legalistic term of continent, like for categorizing places, you get what I mean? Like
everything's on a continent. Everything's on a continental plate, like that move and shift around.
See, there's lots of ways you could probably interpret the word. So continent.
Hawaii's on the continent of Pacific.
No, I think it's in Oceania, isn't it? Hawaii.
Oceania's not a continental plate. It's on the Pacific plate.
Oh, but I don't think that's not how anybody defines continents already.
You're making up how people define continents. That's not real either.
I'm not making up.
Not everything is on a continent.
There's a lot of people that would say that
Midway, an island that is the size of a town in the United States. No land.
Midway Atoll, is that what you're talking about?
Yes, where the Battle of Midway was at.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of little specks of islands.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing remotely close. That needs to be labeled to a continent.
I don't know. Some people do. I'm not saying that I think that they need to.
I just feel like an island's an island. Let it be.
Yeah. But so, I mean, does that mean that Cuba is not part of North America?
I don't even know if it is.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
I think the whole Caribbean is part of North America.
It's considered part of North America? See, that's where I don't even know. They can be their own thing. They're the Caribbean or Caribbean. I know that one is like, technically I know both aren't wrong, but one's like the proper and one's the
one's an adjective and one's a noun.
Proper noun.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I think the Caribbean.
So it's Pirates of the Caribbean in the Caribbean islands.
I thought it was the other way around, to be honest. I thought the movie had it wrong, but I might be. Caribbean.
So it's Pirates of the Caribbean.
It should be Pirates of the Caribbean because it's the Caribbean Ocean or Caribbean Sea, and then the islands are Caribbean islands. I might be mixing that up. I think I am now that I'm saying it out loud. Pronunciation. Okay, after this, we'll try to get back to.
This is fun.
Yeah, Caribbean noun versus Adjective. Yeah, okay, you were right. Caribbean is the noun, and Caribbean is an adjective. So
you're a
I use it
Caribbean
wrong
person or a Caribbean island, but it is the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Yeah, like I'm going to the Caribbean is how I should have said it, you know.
Okay.
And so,
and you would see a lot of people that are from that are Caribbean.
Wait, now that I'm thinking about it, if you were to say Caribbean Sea, that would be correct because Caribbean is an adjective in that phrase. Because what type of sea is it?
No, it's a proper noun.
Yeah, but at the same time, you could make that sentence both ways. You could make that sentence as a proper noun, but you could also say like, what sea is it?
Technically, the White House is an adjective noun.
Yeah.
But in its entity as a whole, it's the proper noun.
Yeah, you're right. I'm making a really dumb argument. That was stupid.
I think.
Yeah, I know you're right.
So yeah, it's the Caribbean islands, but the Caribbean
Sea
area. Like the whole thing is the Caribbean has a bunch of Caribbean islands on it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a mind. Is there a verb version? So you can just say like buffalo 7 times and it's a sentence somehow?
Probably not. But that's the same type of thing as what we just talked about with Caribbean is with Alpine. Like
Alpine mountains?
Yeah. So like Alps is a specific mountain range because it's just shortening the word Alpine. Because Alpine means mountain in the language that was originally there. Trying to remember now. Alpine. So Alps, no, actually Alps is the name of the mountain range, but Alpine is an adjective.
The region, the area.
Yeah, Alpine is what you would say as an adjective before something. Like if something is like Alpine Switzerland or Alpine Italy, like that type of thing.
But it's Alpine there because they say Alpine mountains.
Oh, do they? I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
But Alpine as a word in general can be used just to mean mountain because like Alpine skiing, that's why I started thinking this one day is because I was like, why is all skiing called Alpine skiing if there's an Alpine mountain range? Like what?
Yeah. Like why isn't it Rocky Mountain skiing?
Yeah, exactly.
Or Appalachian skiing.
And so what I came to was Alpine literally means at its root word origin just means mountains. It doesn't mean that specific mountain range. It just means mountains. And that mountain range is just named that because that was the mountains around the people of that language that invented the word Alpine. Yeah. Because to them, it was like, those are the mountains. Those are the only mountains, like they didn't know about.
I think one thing the whole world can agree on is British people say aluminum wrong.
Aluminium. But like all the other English speaking countries say that too. Like,
because they're all just like British crown places.
Yeah. Well, so were we. But
we learned how to talk correctly. That's what it started about.
I think nothing also because we're a lot older of a divergence. Like
most divergence were like right after World War I or II. Like they're not the super old thing.
Yeah, because like so I've heard this before where people are like a lot of the things that British people say, American people say wrong. It's like it's originally that's how it was said in England at the time the U.S. became a thing. Like soccer was originally an English word back in England. And at the time where people came from England to the U.S. is when that word was still in use to mean soccer. And then
the sport of soccer. They changed it to football.
They changed it to football because that was where all the other European countries called it football. And so they eventually started calling it football as well. But so they're
we called it soccer, so it's their fault.
Yeah. Exactly.
But aluminum, they're just dumb. Eggplants are eggplants, not aubergines.
Yeah.
There's a weird one they got for zucchini too. It's like a
also Zed.
Courgette.
Zed is the name of the letter Z in all other English-speaking countries. In Canada, in UK, in South Africa, in Australia.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
really? In South Africa?
In South Africa, they say zebra. Like that's how they pronounce zebra.
My buddy.
Is zebra?
I'm gonna say, do you say aluminum wrong?
Is he from the UK?
He's from South Africa.
Oh, I'm pretty sure he does. South Africa's a cool place.
Shout out to them. Anyway, they're not at the FIBA World Cup as they didn't make the cut.
Yeah. Did you see?
I don't even know if
Joel is might be playing for Team USA next year in the Olympics.
Really? That'd be cool.
Yeah, it just sounds like it's weird because he could obviously, I don't know if Cameroon, I guess, even qualified, so that's probably why, but he still would be able to play for France. Is it who has the?
No, that's Serge Ibaka. That's France too.
Yeah, I know, but what country is like the father country of Cameroon? You know what I mean?
It's France.
Is it France? I'm pretty sure then he would be eligible to play for them too. Pretty sure he's eligible to play for multiple countries.
Because that's why Mbappe can play for France.
Where's Mbappe from? I didn't even know he wasn't from France.
Cameroon.
Oh,
half
really?
Cameroonian.
Mbappe's half Cameroonian?
Yeah.
But is he from there?
His mother's roots are in Algeria and his father's from Cameroon, but Mbappe was born and grew up in France. Just kidding, I'm stupid.
Oh.
Because the U.S. had to do that for a long time, where they would be like, oh, you grew up in Germany, but you were on a U.S. Army base. Soccer player.
Yeah.
That's kind of what happened for a lot of the... There was like 7 German-born players on the U.S. national team.
Yeah, he could play with France, it says.
Why would you want to do that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Because, he'd be like, oh, what do you mean?
Wembley and Gobert.
That would be just a devastating... It only works with 2 big men, and even then it doesn't really work.
Yeah.
That's an interesting start-bench cut. And FIBA rules. Because Gobert is a menace to society in FIBA rules.
Yeah, he is.
Because there's no 3-second violation. Or 5-second. You can just stand in the paint as long as you want.
Yeah. This says Joel Embiid has never played with Cameroon in a FIBA tournament.
Has Cameroon made it to a FIBA tournament?
It says it it's a big deal, but I'm wondering, has Cameroon ever been in a FIBA tournament? Does that even matter? Technically,
FIBA,
if you want,
they got close it was history in 2018.
So that was the qualifying round.
So he could play for the qualifying, but usually the qualifying's in the middle of the NBA season.
Yeah, so that's probably why. They've
Cameroon
never been
won 2 of the 3 games
to make it in.
They need to beat Egypt by 4 points or more to keep their World Cup hopes alive. But they got blown out by 20. I'm trying to see if anywhere it says that Cameroon's never played. In 2008, that was qualifier. So I don't think they've made it, from what I've gathered.
Yeah. Anyways, well, we should probably at least look at maybe the USA roster. I mean, I've already looked at it once, but just to kind of highlight it and preview.
Kind of a fun, I haven't looked at it super close. I just remember a couple names.
Yeah.
It's not really like a juggernaut top of the NBA. None of these guys are bad, but it's like a fun group. You're like, oh, this is like tier 2 of the NBA. This is exciting.
Yeah, that's why I'm interested. I wanted to bring this up, and I'm like, we need to pay attention to this year because I'd like to get into it and actually be a fan. I haven't rooted for my country to compete in a sport, and it feels like in a long time because I don't care about any other sport other than basketball. And even if I did care about soccer, it's never really. I mean, I guess I did. Never mind. I did watch them.
Women's soccer is a menace.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
They're playing terrible this year, but they walk in, execute people, then walk out with the World Cup. They're going for 3 in a row.
Yeah. So
which is even more impressive when you realize it's 12 years of dominance and not just.
Yeah. So for most Americans, it probably is not. They don't have the same problem that I do, because there's definitely teams I could have rooted for.
I think.
So what's going on right now? Is that FIFA?
Yeah, FIFA Women's World Cup. They played Tuesday against Portugal. They beat Vietnam 3-0, played terribly. Then they played the Netherlands. Didn't look like they wanted it, and they drew 1-1. Then they've got Portugal to get out of the group stage.
So why are women in the U.S. so much better at soccer? Is it just because it's more of
the women in the U.S. actually can be people and do things?
But how is that? Why? I get that they're better, but why are there?
Because I don't know how to.
Is it a cultural thing? Is it because?
No, I'm almost positive.
It's more of a girl sport in the U.S. versus being more of a guy's sport, slightly. Is that why?
No,
versus other countries?
I'm pretty sure it's because women in the U.S. were able to play and be given proper facilities for longer.
Oh, okay. I didn't understand that's what you meant by the sentence you said earlier. You said
they were just able to actually be a full-on regular, equal part of society earlier.
Oh,
in South America and African countries that are great at soccer.
Yeah,
that's not the case still. Like, I don't think Iran will ever have a killer women's soccer
So
team.
then theoretically, the
Or Iran.
women's U.S. sports should destroy in every sport, shouldn't they? Or at least be really good in every
And they
sport.
kind of do, I think.
Are they?
I'm pretty sure they're decent at just about everything.
Mm-hmm. But I also feel like in other countries, like all the other countries for the most part in the world, if you're a guy, it's like, what sport do you play? Oh, I play football. I play like soccer, you know?
Mm-hmm.
In the U.S., for guys, it's more American football or basketball or, you know, something like that. Soccer is not uncommon, but it's not like the most common. And for females, soccer's probably closer to the most common, I would say, than it is for the boys.
Volleyball?
I'm not saying it is the most
Softball?
common. I'm not saying it is the most common. I'm just saying it's probably closer in the women's, because like when you think of kids playing soccer, I just feel like there's probably slightly more girls that play soccer than guys.
Because, yeah, I guess.
So like kids growing up in the U.S., I think there's probably a larger.
Because soccer has to compete with baseball in terms of when it's played in like U.S. high schools.
Mm-hmm.
I guess.
For girls soccer, what season does that even conflict with?
Track, golf.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if like bigger schools would have tennis maybe for bigger schools. I don't know when tennis plays. I think it's spring for tennis.
Yeah. And I would say that's not even close to as big as commonly played by people. You know what I mean? Just
trying to think if there's another spring sport that I'm just totally spacing. Oh, girls golf is actually in the
but on a golf team.
No, girls golf's in the fall. Boys golf's in the spring.
At a school, there's more soccer players than there are golf players, aren't there?
Yeah, but there's more football players than there are basketball players.
Oh, that's true. That's a dumb.
It's like the same.
Mm-hmm.
Soccer's more accessible because you just need a ball and like rough guesses for like a goal, like a rough, like you can put shoes down and that's a goal.
Oh yeah, you can do it without like equipment,
the proper
as much. Yeah,
equipment
makes sense. But anyways, I don't know how we got off on that. Team USA basketball team. I'm interested in it. The roster seems like it'll be fun. We got Paulo Banchero, Mikal Bridges. I'll just say all the forwards first, I guess. Brandon Ingram, Jaren Jackson Jr., Cam Johnson, Bobby Portis.
Weird vet to throw in there. Just kind of a weird, like, seasoned vet. Yeah. You're going to hear the rest of the names, and there's not really a guy that I'd be like, he's been in the league a while.
He's the closest to 30, for sure. He might even be 30 by now. Well, Josh Hart is pretty old, too. Josh Hart and Mikal Bridges are older than you would think. Jalen Brunson.
Well, I know Josh Hart because I took him in a player pool in high school, and he's 28.
Yeah, 28. Bobby Portis is probably like 29, 30.
Bobby Portis is 37.
No, he's not.
He's 28.
Oh, he's 28. Cam Johnson's like 27 probably. Mikal Bridges is probably 26, 27.
And probably just because Bobby Portis has been on like a bunch of like, not a bunch. He was on that Bucks team that won a title.
What else basically it as far as prominent teams. And the Knicks. The Knicks when they had like 6 power forwards at the same time.
Legend. Also played for Washington apparently.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for 28 games.
Mm-hmm. But anyways, Walker Kessler is the only center on the whole team. Bobby Portis can play center, obviously.
Jaren Jackson Jr. is pretty much a center, too.
And yeah, those guys are both power forwards / centers, but like on here it just shows forward. So Walker Kessler, I wonder if he'll start, to be honest. That'll be interesting.
But maybe. But I think the guards are the most fun part. Is there a funner... the top 3 guards they have listed. Is there a funner 3 guys that I'm like, this is going to be entertaining? Jalen Brunson, Anthony Edwards, and Halliburton?
Tyrese Halliburton, yeah.
That's just fun.
Yep. And then Austin Reeves.
Legend.
And Josh Hart. Those are the guards. So there's how many players? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 12. 12 guys. And if there's an injury or anything like that, they have those select team guys that they can bring up, which I'm pretty sure there's some good guys on that team too. Young guys, but still. But yeah, I feel like that's going to be a fun team.
Anthony Edwards is endlessly entertaining.
Yeah. Who do you think the guy on this team is going to be? Like the guy is going to be Paolo? I'm really surprised by how quick that was.
I feel like, yeah. Or Jalen Brunson.
I could see Jalen
Brandon
Brunson.
Ingram.
Yeah.
I forgot Brandon Ingram was here. Sorry.
That was the guy I would think would be the number 1 pick. But I could see Jalen Brunson.
I forgot that Brandon Ingram was on the team. Kind of a little bit.
Yeah, I feel like he's probably going to be the guy in the closing games, the guy that we put the ball in his hands when we need a basket, that type of thing. If that sort of thing happens, which hopefully it does. I'd like these games to be competitive. I feel like they probably will be.
Because it'll be these guys against Giannis and Greece in the group stage, which I don't know how much of our struggle bus will be included into the ep. But the U.S.'s group was listed earlier, but I'll say it again in case. U.S., Jordan, Greece, and New Zealand in their group play. And then
New Zealand is Steven Adams. Is he playing for New Zealand? He probably will be. But yeah, that'll be interesting. Canada would be fun to watch too, honestly. Mainly more as a Nuggets fan, just to see Jamal Murray. I kind of want to see him if he takes that over, if he's the guy on that team, you know. Because I feel like SGA is probably the main candidate for that. Like most people probably say it's going to be SGA's team. But Jamal, it'll be interesting to see if he's the guy that takes over down the stretch.
No, it's Dylan Brooks for sure.
On Team Canada.
It's Kyle Alexander, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, RJ Barrett. They have a lot more people. I'm going to just list the NBA guys because Kyle Alexander plays for Valencia. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, RJ Barrett, O'Shea Brissett, Dylan Brooks, the Dorcher Chamber, Zach Edey, Purdue Boilermaker. He's not NBA, but almost was. Shea, Corey Joseph, Jamal Murray, Kelly Olynyk, Dwight Powell, and that is it for the NBA/one not NBA guy.
Yeah.
They have a lot of non-NBA guys on their roster.
Yeah.
I'm trying to see if there's any guys that were NBA that aren't.
They might not have the same feeder system that we do. Because how the U.S. has all these different levels. We have the under 19s, then we have the select team, then we have this roster. So they might not have a select team. They might everybody that's above the U19 cutoff is probably on their team. Maybe might just not have enough guys to make two teams. Might be the thing.
The USA select team is wow. I would love to have a normal list
because Cade
Cunningham, Jalen Duren, Langston Galloway, Jalen Green, Quentin Grimes, Chet Holmgren, Josh Jenkins, Herb Jones. Well, there's all the guards. I mean, all the centers.
Yeah.
I said 2 in a row, 3 in a row. Trey Murphy, Keegan Murray, Peyton Pritchard, Naz Reid, and Jalen Williams. Sacramento, not Sacramento. What weird small school did he go to?
Santa Clara.
Santa Clara, Jalen Williams.
Yeah, so that's a fun team too. But I feel I'm pretty sure at least that select team, the only thing it is for is playing against.
If someone gets hurt.
Yeah, that and playing against this team, our U.S. team to practice, in scrimmages and stuff. I don't think they compete against anybody else. I might be wrong on that, I guess, but
no big names really. Some, but no giant on either team. There's no giant names. I feel maybe not. There isn't always for FIBA Cups. Maybe it's only usually the Olympics where you get.
We've had some good FIBA teams. Last FIBA, there was Tatum and KD played in FIBA. I don't know if that was the last one, but he definitely played in FIBA. Carmelo.
Is it just always the year before the Olympics?
Yep. Summer before the Olympics. I'm pretty sure what year is that called? The Redeem Team, 2008. In 2007, they had all of those guys for the most part.
And they ran it through the FIBA Cup.
Yeah. They had Kobe, LeBron, Wade, Melo. I'm pretty sure there was a couple guys in there that weren't there in 07, but a lot of those guys were. But yeah, and Donovan Mitchell last year, or last FIBA, so 4 years ago. Pretty sure he was on that team. So, a little bit more, guys that are at least equal to Brandon Ingram or better. Because I feel like Brandon Ingram is the bar for this team, because this team, I think he's probably the best guy, current guy. Anthony Edwards is up there too.
When was the last time the U.S. lost the Olympics?
2004, and we got third.
They lost 2004.
Yeah, we got bronze because Manu Ginobili. That's the reason Manu Ginobili is the first ballot Hall of Famer, because it's not the NBA Hall of Fame; it is the basketball Hall of Fame. Yep, because it was not single-handedly, but he really did a one-man. It was like a Dirk on the Mavs type of performance
thing.
Yeah,
and it was the U.S. game to knock him down to the third place game. Is that what it was?
Say that again.
Was it the game to knock the U.S. down to the third place game? So it was the semifinal.
Yeah, semifinals, okay. But they won the whole thing. Argentina did. I think Spain might have been up there too. Spain's always in there, which is weird because there's not. I don't feel like there's been a ton of Spanish. There's been a good amount, but not an insane amount of Spanish players in the NBA. You wouldn't think oh, that's clearly the juggernaut of Europe, but it seems like they have been. Serbia is the juggernaut of Eastern Europe.
Oh, Luis Scola.
Yeah,
disrespect. I forgot about this man.
Literally, that's the guy that popped into my head when I said single-handedly, and I was like, well, not single-handedly, but I'm pretty sure
Italy got second.
Leandro Barbosa was on that team too, right? The Argentinian team.
No.
Oh, he wasn't? Interesting. He might have been too young.
But like looking at this Italian team.
Oh no, I don't know. Barbosa's Brazilian. I'm sorry. Obviously, he's the Brazilian Blur. I don't know why I said that. You continue.
I don't know any of these dudes from Italy.
Back in 2004?
Yeah.
Andrea Bargnani, is he on there?
No.
Gallo's definitely not old enough at that point.
This is the list of players.
Are you sending it to me on something?
On Discord, I sent it. Or is there a chat in this thing?
I don't think there's a chat. There might be a chat on there.
Am I crazy? I just don't recognize any of these names. There's a lot of Z's, a lot of I's. Oh, yeah. Also, this U.S. team is wild. Olympic teams are always a wild conglomeration of people.
Yeah.
But like AIs, Stephon Marbury, D. Wade, Carlos Boozer, Melo, LeBron, Emeka Okafor, Sean Marion, Amadi Stoudemire, Duncan, Lamar Odom, and then Richard Jefferson.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember.
It's just like a wild, just list of names that you just don't anticipate. And maybe you would, because the 08 team is the team of when I think of, okay, this is a lot of dudes that were just dudes around when I was growing up. Yeah,
2004 would have been a little bit too early for a lot of those guys. But yeah, bro, just glancing through this, I don't think I see anybody here that I recognize either. Yep, never heard of any of these players.
It looks like they either don't qualify or they just don't go to the FIBA World Cup all the time.
U.S.?
Because 2014 is the last year they have listed on the Wikipedia.
So 2018 should have been the next one. No, that wouldn't make any sense because this is 2023. But there's the FIBA. I'm pretty sure it might say FIBA for the qualifying thing too. Because last summer was the FIBA Euro Cup.
Yeah, this is the FIBA
World.
The FIBA Basketball World Cup.
Okay.
That is taking in this the contest we're talking about right now.
That was 2014.
Yeah, is the last one that is showing up on the US's list of doing things.
So it used to be in the middle of the rotation, so it'd be every other year with the Olympics instead of back-to-back years. Correct? Because the Olympics and it used to be on even numbered years. Oh, so it went from 2014 to 2019, I guess is the thing.
And in 2019 it doesn't look like the US went.
I thought they did. I thought that's where we got 7th.
Oh, it did. We got 7th?
Yeah, you don't remember that? That was I remember you specifically getting really mad about that.
I do remember because it looked like no one cared at all.
Yeah, that was the team with Tatum, Lillard. Lillard was on that team, I think.
And Steph was going to go and then backed out, and a bunch of guys were going and then didn't go at the last second.
And then we had our redemption after the Bucks won the championship in 2021. We had 2021, the team went over. It was Zach LaVine, Drew Holiday, Chris Middleton, Jason Tatum, Damian Lillard, a lot of those guys. Donovan Mitchell, I think, was on that team. So a lot of actual guys going. And I think we won at that time. So we got our revenge. What?
Ra Gunna, a Korean basketball player, an American born in South Korea, was the top scorer of the 2019 FIBA World Cup.
Okay.
Ricky Rubio was the MVP.
Of what year?
2019.
Oh. So 2021, the year that I'm talking about, that was supposed to be 2020 Olympics.
Yes.
That was the Olympic team. Kevin Durant was also on that team. Bam, Bradley Beal, Devin Booker, KD, Jeremy Grant, Draymond Green, Drew Holiday, Keldon Johnson, Zach LaVine, Damian Lillard, Kevin Love, JaVale McGee, Chris Middleton, and Jason Tatum.
I was I missed Tatum? Because I know for sure he was there.
Mm-hmm.
Because I remember Draymond and Dame in interviews and stuff. When I was up at 3 a.m. watching a game.
Oh, and Brad Beal. Yeah, I remember this. Brad Beal and Kevin Love both got injured, and so they didn't even go over to Tokyo. And Keldon Johnson and JaVale McGee. Keldon
Johnson filled in, and there was why is it Keldon Johnson? Is that really the next guy that wants to go?
Because it was Greg Popovich was the head coach, so that's why.
But JaVale McGee.
Yeah, JaVale McGee was the center to replace Kevin Love. Yeah, and he was the only true center on the whole team.
Which that's weird, considering that there's just centers that aren't great that would thrive because you don't have to get out of the paint.
The Plumlees. Well, that's why Plumlee has always been on a Team USA team up until very recently, but there's always been some
when you
Plumlees.
Don't have to leave the paint, it's just like a wild thing you can do.
Yeah.
Like, that's why Rudy Gobert is a menace.
And you can touch the ball as soon as it hits the rim. It's live.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. So it's not goaltending if you grab the ball off of the basket after it's touched the rim. Which seems like
Chet on the select team.
Yeah, it seems like
just get Chet out there.
That would be a good if you just like jumped at every shot, you know what I mean? And if it touched the rim, you just take it. Like I feel like I don't know, maybe that wouldn't be super efficient if that was your strategy. Probably would need some really good timing.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think this USA team is going to be fun to watch, and hopefully they give us some like games that are at reasonable times for us to consume, and we can pay attention to and root for, and we'll try to cover some of that here on this podcast. But yeah, so that should conclude that
wild episode.
Mm-hmm.
Was it Rick Barry? Who was the episode today?
This was Donovan Mitchell. Rick Barry's what number is Rick Barry? Number 4 or something like that?
24. I don't know why Rick Barry popped into my mind. I have no idea.
24. Okay. Yeah, I did Kobe obviously for 24.
Yeah, no, I don't know.
He also wore 4.
Maybe my brain had it off and I thought we were on 42 and then was like
yeah.
Went 42. Weirdo mode, but
trying to remember who we used for 42. You wanted us to use Al Horford. We used James Worthy.
Yeah.
James Worthy, Pascal Siakam, Jerry West was last episode. Could have done Pete Maravich, but we did Jerry West. And then this episode was Donovan Mitchell, which I thought about in the past, because usually when I think of 45, the first person I think of is Jordan, even
which is
though
hilarious.
He only wore it for not even half a season.
Is it 12 is the jersey he wore one game?
One game he wore 12, yeah. But he wore 45 the season that he came back from baseball, right? Mm-hmm. Like with 12, I don't know, like very small amount of games left in the regular season. And he wore 45. And I'm pretty sure he might have not even wore 45 in the playoffs that year. He might have switched it before the playoffs. I might be wrong on that. But they lost to the Magic, obviously, that year. But it most people don't really count that when you're talking about
as a year at all, because people say he won 6 in a row with the gap in between.
Because
people forgot he came back.
Well, people don't forget; they just don't really count it because he the only reason he came back was because he was sitting not playing baseball because the MLB was on a lockout, so he couldn't play baseball, and he was like, might as well just come play basketball again, and he just walked onto the court in with 15 games left in the season. And also the team was way worse than they were the year before, or last year he played. And then
because they went and got Rodman in that off season, right?
Yeah. Before 96. Mm-hmm.
Before the start of that next season. Yeah.
So, and it was before Steve Kerr got there too. So it was just really Scotty, and Horace Grant was already gone. Horace Grant was on the Magic, the team that knocked him out.
Yep.
But yeah, and also I've heard it said, at least in the Last Dance documentary, they made a pretty big deal about the shape you have to be in for baseball is so much different than basketball. He was doing different things to train for baseball, to get him more bulky, and it's less of you kind of want more body fat in a way in baseball apparently, or something like that. And that's the opposite for basketball. So it was it was kind of crazy how good he was at, even though he was just jumping into a season completely unprepared. But yeah, he did look like not peak Michael Jordan in that 95 playoffs, obviously. And that was a really good Magic team too, with Penny and Shaq, that eventually got swept in the finals against Hakeem. But yeah. Anyways,
the Celtics made their X profile picture, the NBA Paints Celtics picture.
Their X profile picture?
Twitter.
Why did you say X?
Oh, have you not seen this
at
all?
What are you talking about?
Elon Musk is trying to rename it X. Just go to twitter.com.
Oh, I think I heard somebody I didn't understand the reference, but I think I've. Oh, why? Just because he's obsessed with the letter
He's
X?
just, he's just, I don't know. He's just him.
Interesting.
The NBA Paint's been redesigning logos for every team, and the Celtics one.
Yeah. You think Threads is gonna work? Is it gonna?
I have.
You haven't even got on it.
No.
Oh, I got on it, but I never go on there. Like I created my account, but it seems like interesting, but it's just kind of weird because you need like social media. So much of the draw is people being on it, and when it's brand new, there's just not people on it, and so like it feels weird to go on it. You know what I mean? You need people like to.
Also, before we go, bald Derek White, prepare your bodies.
Just Google that. Is that what you're?
Oh no, he's bald now. This isn't like a meme.
Okay. We had so much. It sounds like we have so many things we could have talked about this episode that we just did.
It was all Celtics garbage, but.
Oh wow.
No, prepare yourself.
Yeah, I see him. Yeah.
He committed. He is going to execute the NBA. Get MVP season loading.
Is it because everybody made fun of his hairline? Is that why he did it?
Yeah, do you know? Yes, people have made fun of his hairline. Shaq and Charles Barkley.
Yeah, I know they did. I was just wondering if that was the reason why.
I have no idea why he shaved his head, but I just know that Rob Williams is going to be the offensive engine, so watch out for that.
The offensive engine, is that what you said?
I know there was a video of him shooting threes, and he actually was like looked like he was like comfortable shooting them.
That's what all non-shooters look like in summer videos.
But get ready, because this is the first year he's not been injured and recovering from a surgery over the summer, and can actually work on his game over the summer.
That's true, but I've seen those videos from Andre Drummond, from Dwight Howard, from all.
Watch him turn into Al Horford. Watch.
Okay, but yeah, the other thing, aliens are real. Did you see that?
What?
Yeah. Oh, okay. We both have things that the other person hasn't heard of. There's this guy. I don't even know what his position was, but
a U.S. whistleblower.
Yeah, like he's it's confirmed who he is, like what his rank. He was in the Air Force or something like that.
Like he was something real.
Yeah, and
Air Force intelligence officer.
He under oath said that he has the threat of him going to prison. Obviously, if he's lying,
if he lies.
And they asked him some questions. He basically said that the U.S. government is in possession of alien aircrafts, at least some, and he said they also had the biologicals. His term. He said the biologicals from within the aircrafts, and they were like, "You mean the pilots?" And he was like, "Yes." And they were like, "Are the pilots not human?" He was like, "No, they were not human."
That's wild.
Yeah. And the fact that it's just crazy because this is such a bomb of like craziness, but like people care. But in a way, people don't really care. But at the same time, it's like, this is kind of what I feel like the actual reaction to this real news would be. You know what I mean? Like a lot of people are saying like the fact that nobody cares means nobody believes it. It's like, well, like what?
Well,
what do you expect?
Like maybe.
Like, how would people actually react if there were aliens? Would we just
can't do anything? Do I just start firing guns in the air and hope I hit them? If aliens were like rolling up, like aggressively, I feel like people might act differently. But just knowledge that they exist,
I feel like people just kind of still go about their lives. Like, what else are you gonna do?
Also, I am convinced that aliens would be peaceful. Because in order to get an entire planet to believe and agree to like not have problems back at home, you would have to have reached some sort of like peaceful coexistence like in Star Trek, you know?
That's true.
Like we're gonna go explore space.
Until there was some big thing that overthrew all of that, and it's like like something overtook the power that was eventually like that power developed.
But then that power couldn't hold the whole planet again.
Maybe. Depends on how powerful that power is.
I feel like unless it's another alien, but then you would go to the further down the line, Unless aliens have the same problem as humans, is like power makes them a little bit wobbly jubbly in the brain.
Yeah.
They don't think very well.
Yeah.
Yeah, whatever.
But it's
for all we know, the UFOs they found were like same thing as like sending the Tesla thing to Mars. Like they're not like actually that like great of technologically advanced. Maybe they're just like, oh, we'll just send this out with some dudes in cryo sleep out there.
Oh yeah,
and
the fact
like maybe
I think they said pi. I'm not 100% sure because I heard secondhand. I listened to a different podcast that talked about this. It was a different basketball podcast where they all started talking about this. There's actually two of them. They talked about this on the Bill Simmons podcast, but also on that the DNVR.
Bill Simmons did an emergency episode for this.
It was an emergency, I don't think.
Well, no, because he would have been done because he was taking off and through August.
That was the episode that he announced that at the beginning. In the second half of that episode, that's where he talks about the alien stuff. And
okay, I have 39 minutes left.
Oh, which
in that episode,
I don't think maybe that the thing that I'm talking about hadn't happened yet.
Because it sounds like this happened on.
But they talk about something
Thursday.
Related. They talk about the woman on the plane. That people are connecting these things, saying that has to do with aliens. The woman on the plane. Have you heard about that?
Like this weird lady being like
wanted to get off because she was saying that another person on the plane wasn't real. She just kept saying that guy's not real.
Very, very aggressively, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm a little confused on what happened because the way that Bill Simmons described it sounded like the first thing he said was it was a pastor guy. Like she saw this pastor guy that nobody else could see. But then later he's saying that she kept saying that she was talking about another guy and saying that he wasn't real. So it makes it sound like the other people can see him. But I'm not sure if she's like, oh, there's this guy here. I see him, but he's not real, but nobody else can see. You know what I mean? Because that would be even weirder. So I'm a little confused on the details, but apparently there's this woman trying to get off a plane because there's a guy that she says is not real. And either she can see him or either people can see him or the other people can't. Not sure. But the theory out there is that this, which for those who don't know me at all, like I am not a conspiracy theories person. Like I shake my head at most of them and I think they're kind of dumb. Like our friend Anthony is very into, he has a lot of conspiracy theories and I'm like, yeah, I don't know. And not convinced by a lot of them. This one, I'm not convinced by necessarily, but it's just interesting because I don't know what's going on. You know what I mean?
You don't think the Illuminati meets below the Denver airport?
Yeah. That type of stuff. Not really convinced, but anyways.
Did we land on the moon?
Probably. I think so.
Especially if we have aliens, we for sure landed on the moon.
Yeah. Exactly. But so, this isn't like, I guess, confirmed that there are aliens out there. This guy definitely could be crazy or lying. But the fact that he's speaking under oath and it's a U.S. government official person, like it's more credence than zero. That's for sure. So, anyways, that has been today's episode.
Who knows how much of it'll all be there.
Yeah.
This one might be a little bit of extra work. By the way, if you would like to reward my friend Logan for all the work he does, go to patreon.com/hooptheory. Also, buy him a coffee.
Thank you.
Peace.
Wait. Sorry. The other thing is, I forgot, needed to shout out somebody who, this is funny. You'll think this story is funny. There's this kid on TikTok that keeps DMing me. He's been talking to me a lot. His name is Yeet Tweezy. And because he really likes the rapper Yeet, but his profile picture is LaMelo Ball. Anyways, he was wanting to come on the podcast, and I was telling him probably not. And
why not? That'd be awesome.
Would you want that? I guess I could run it by you. He's 12
we can talk about it later. Well, he's actually a kid.
He's 13.
Oh, no, this is a bad idea. No, that's a bad idea.
Yeah. He's a kid. But that's most of the people on TikTok, by the way, that interact with us are that age.
Oh, cool.
Like, because it's TikTok. But anyways, he wanted me to shout him out at the very least on
Yeet
the
Tweezy?
podcast. Yeah, Yeet Tweezy. So I'm shouting him out.
Yeet Tweezy, I'll tell you this, Yeet Tweezy. I will get a T-shirt that has your name on it if the Boston Celtics win the 2020 or whatever his favorite team is. It didn't have to be the Celtics.
I think it's the Hornets. He likes the Hornets.
Or did you just like LaMelo Ball?
He likes LaMelo, but
no one actually likes the Hornets.
He's rooting for his. I look at his account. All of his videos are about like Hornets jerseys. It's a lot of Hornets stuff. So I think he might be
what kind of Hornets? Like Chris Paul Hornets?
No, like now. So I like
now Hornets.
I feel like he's probably a LaMelo fan
that followed to Charlotte.
He's either a Charlotte fan that just really loves LaMelo, or he's a LaMelo fan and therefore is cheering for the Hornets.
What if he's like a crazy big Michael Jordan fan and is just ride or die whatever Michael Jordan does?
He did tell me in DMs that he has MJ over Braun. So he just left. Jacob just left. All right.